Phone just fell down. Oh, sorry. Welcome to the Here and Now Show. I am your host, Lavonda Ray. Thank you. And if you tuned into my Here and Now show, you know that the Here and Now show is a show where I've taken real life events and turned them into a positive living. If you have any question or any comments, feel free to leave in the message box because all voices matter. So with that being started, let's start the show. Welcome back. Welcome back. It's your girl. I'm here. I'm blessed. And you should be blessed too. You know, today's going to be kind of difficult for me because I forgot my glasses. So do not judge. Be patient with me. But this is a show where everybody voice matters and there's no judgment. So today we're going to laugh a little, we're going to cry, and I also want to thank all of you guys for always tuning in with me, you know, and being for real with me. And today's topic, I said we're going to talk about friendship. Ooh, Lord have mercy. Yes, the friendship that that lasts, is the friendship that betrayed us, the friendship that disappeared on us, the friendship that came back 20 years later is talking about, girl, we got some catching up to do. You guys, I got to move my microphone. I'm sorry. Oops. Saying that we got, oh my, that we got some catching up to do, right? Well, I'm like, well, welcome to the show because baby ain't no time better than any time. So where you at right now. I want everybody to say hello, give me a good shout out, and hello, I'm glad to be here. I am blessed to be here, and like I said, today's topic, we're talking about friendship. That friendship or that one friend you haven't seen in 20 years, and he or she comes back and like, hey, let's catch up. You're like, yes, we got to catch up. You missed 17 birthdays, 3 baby showers, and 10 tons and tons of heartbreaks, and one funeral. Of course we need to catch up. But seriously, guys, friendships are beautiful. Sometimes they can be complicated. Sometimes your best friends can become one of your family members, and sometimes your best friend can become one of your biggest lessons. I'm talking about all of that today. So, best friends for men, this conversation is for women. I'm talking about the fake friends. I'm talking about the friends that you've known your whole life and then all of a sudden they get green on you. I'm talking about women for men. So this conversation is for everybody. So grab you a snack, grab your coffee, grab your sweet tea, or if you're anything like me, you grab whatever it takes to get you through this moment and snack it up. Y'all know how I do it. A little jazz before we dive into it because I love jazz music. It sets the stage. It kind of, just makes it all a lot better. So we're going to take a few seconds to listen to some jazz, and then I'm gonna come back. We're gonna do a little topic, and again, I do not have my glasses. How you doing? So my vision is kind of shaky, but I can see that you said hi. So how are you? I hope that's what you said, because again, I don't have my glasses. I'm not perfect, but we still streaming, baby. Welcome back. Welcome back. Like I said, today we're just having a good conversation talking about friends, and that word friends is such a broad word. But today, that's what we're talking about. So, when we all have friends, we have all types of friends. We have friends for different reasons. Friends come into our life sometimes for a lifetime, and some leave some. Words is twisting, and some don't stay a lifetime. There are, I want you to. This is one question that I would like to ask as an oncoming question is: we all have had different types of friendships. How many different types of friendships have you had in your lifetime? Now, when you think about this question. Think about things like, friends you went to elementary with, or friends at your church, or friends at your high school, friends at your job, or maybe that one friend that is going to start her business, start his business, or that one friend that always keeps you on bound and say, hey, we're going to lose weight or gain weight together. You know, that friend that, there's all type of friends out there. And in my lifetime, I've had been blessed to, meet friends in my life. For me, like when I was in high school, I have to be honest, I wasn't very popular. I mean, I had like two friends in high school, and it wasn't because people picked on me or I got bullied, but it was just that I was a shy person. So, meeting new people for me was more like it could happen, but I wasn't the type of person to come up and make it happen. But if they was to talk to me, sure. But I was a shy person. So for me, friendship was kind of hard. But then as I grew older, that shyness kind of disintegrated, and as I became the person that I became to be, I was able to again, talk and not be so shy. Um, and I started understanding as I got older that friendships, what is a friend? Am I a good friend? And what does a good friendship look like? You know, or you ever call your best friend and you could call them and without no question or anything, they're always going to be there for you. They're always going to be there for you. And then sometimes, friendships can turn. And so, everybody knows that what happens when you've been friends with somebody for a really, 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 really long time, and you start to tell them, your little secrets because y'all can forming a bond, and now y'all good friends, and you're telling them things, they telling you things, and you guys are just connecting, like homegirls or homeboys, like the real ideal friendship. I'll call this part of my story the friendship that didn't last the whole summer. Now, and if you've ever had, I don't know if it's just me, but have you ever had a friend that switches personalities over a man? Or if you have, pull your chair up. All right. This is my story. Maybe you can relate. You know, now these things happen. This thing happened. This event took place, I want to say, around 2012, 2020, somewhere around there. Life was so simple back then. You know what I mean? Me and my homegirl, we were always together. We end up living together. We would go out together. We would hang out together. We go to the bars, come home, talk about how much fun we had later that night. You know how you do it. You know how you having those 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning talks like, girl, did you really get on that table? And then you're like, girl, I did, and why didn't you stop me? Like type shit. But one of those things, you know, and one thing about our friendship is we never liked the same men. Thank God. I mean, if I liked them tall, she liked them short. If she liked muscles, I like personality. She liked country boys, I like city boys. There was never no competition. At least that's what I thought. Um, and then one day, let me just share like one day, you know, this new individual, who's a man, moves into our apartment complex. And if you're not sure what an apartment complex is, it's an apartment complex where you have, maybe someone living on the left, maybe someone living on the right, someone living upstairs, downstairs. It's a complex. So when, new people move into the neighborhood, it's like the whole neighborhood becomes a welcome community. Hey, trying to get to know the person. Well, that Sunday rolls by, and we're sitting outside, and then he pulls up and he's sitting outside. So me and my homegirl, we decided, hey, let's go over there and meet the neighbor, right? And we did. As soon as we got over there, they talked, they were laughing. I introduced myself and all. And I was just sitting there. I was proud of my friend. I'm like, okay, go girl. They had a great connection for what I could see. And I'm like, let me just stay on the sideline because I don't want to interfere in nobody's happy love story. So, speed passed. They started exchanging numbers. Um, they started hanging out more. They was going on dates. Eventually, he started coming to our house, and then we would all, laugh, hang out, 420, happy, watching movies, making jokes on each other. I literally call this guy like my big brother. Me, her, him. We were like three peas in the pot. Isn't that how that goes? That's what we were. And at least for a little while. At least for a little while. Then I noticed as that little while turned into more months, because this was probably 6 months into the relationship, right? And I would notice that he would come around and my friend, she would turn into somebody I didn't even recognize. Like, she would make funny faces after my jokes. And if he laughed at it, she even made a funnier face. When I say funny faces, what I mean is I might say a joke that I tell all the time. I might say, hey, what kind of cheese is nacho cheese? And nobody guesses it. Of course, it's nacho cheese. And ha ha ha, ha we're laughing. Ha ha ha, that's me laughing. Oh, 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 that's him laughing. And this is her. So then it goes from, okay. But still, have you ever had noticed anyone that you're around and they get around certain people and they change depending on who's watching them? I think I was dealing with that a little bit. Anyways, she became this different person. She would start saying little shit, or like I had asked her to pass me the lighter that was clearly next to her, and she would say little shit like "Get it yourself," and I'm like, "Oh, she's joking. Hand me the lighter, friend." She never handed me the lighter. Okay, so now at this point, I'm like, shit's getting real funny. I mean, as far as I knew, that everything was correct. We were friends. We were vibing. And then she started, like making little jokes to try to embarrass me. That's the wrong thing to do. And she continued try to make herself bigger and try to make me feel smaller. And at first I laughed. I was like, oh, this girl here is crazy. She's real crazy. Because she must have forgot that I'm not ashamed to get in the field and put them hands on you because now you're being disrespectful, right? Like, come on, friend. She knows how it goes, but she just continued to try to belittle me. But after a while, her jokes was coming real close to be my secondhand emotion, which was gonna smack the shit out of her. That was just she was getting real close to that. Her jokes was connecting real well with my hands, right? So I'm like, all right now. She was about to get a real super ass kicking because what are we doing? We're supposed to be friends. What's going on? But I chilled for a little bit, right? I chilled, I chilled for a second. But then he started saying things about me that I know I've never told him. I mean, he was sitting there painting pictures about me that I had never even said. Like, he was giving out secrets that I told her. The kind of secrets, that you have with your homegirl at 2, 3 in the morning. And y'all make that vouch. This doesn't go anywhere but between us. Well, apparently, it didn't happen that way. Apparently, let's fast forward. This man was sitting around telling me about me. Uh, Telling me about my business. Like, hold up, excuse me, sir. Hello, brother, friend. How did you know that my ankles swell at night? How did you know that I sleepwalk at night? No one could have told you that. Hello, how are you doing? Hey, how are you? I am doing great today. God bless you. I'm glad you are here today. Yes, I am your host of my podcast show, but it's great to have you. And so I'm like, how does he know all this information? It's like, what's going on, right? So I'm like, what's going on? Like, you're saying things that I've never told you. So I look over at my friend, and she's staring at the red carpet as hard as hell as if she's trying to figure out an SAT program. Like she's studying for the SATs. I could not believe it. That's when I knew. That's when I knew. Hands that she had told my business, you know? And the thing is that my friend, she had all of a sudden started making up these lies about me, painting these pictures about me to him that wasn't true. And I did not know why she was doing such things. But when he left, yeah, when he left, we had a not the best set down. I naturally confronted her about, these things is repeatedly every time, he comes around, you're starting to say things that is disrespectful to me. And instead of her, responding with an apology, she was really aggressive. So speed past aggressiveness, which wasn't the best way to handle things because we're supposed to be friends. Speed past the aggressiveness, became more aggressive, and we both ended up in jail. Right? I tell you what, when I sat in jail for that 1 hour, that was hard time for me. I like okay, 1 hour in jail was I did time, right? So I bonded out. At least I did. Apparently, we had two charges against each other, assault, blah blah blah. Needless to say, our friendship, of course, um, ended that summer. I sat there, and it was hard to walk away from a friendship because she was someone that I really trusted, and it wasn't that our friendship ended over a man. No, it ended because I could no longer trust her, and that I had gave you all this information about me, and then you use my low points or my vulnerability as your entertainment, and I couldn't deal with that no more. So I've always wished her well, and I pray that she's doing well to this day. But my point was sometimes, you can run with people for days and weeks and sometimes years, and the whole time they secretly don't like you or they have something against you. So, and that's not really what I would call a friend. I can remember stories, guys. I remember before my father had passed over some years ago. And like I said, I've never had like a group of friends. But in I think it was about like my high school journey. I hung around the same people all day. We hang out, we ride our bikes. I'm at their house, they're at my house. We all hung out, right? It was like four of us. And my father one day said, "Enjoy your friends while you're still young." And I didn't get what he mean because he said, enjoy your friends while they're young because as you get older, you guys will go down different paths, right? I don't know, my I just want to make sure I see all you guys' faces. Jennifer, yes, I see you. Jennifer, I see you. I see all of you. And the thing about this today is I don't have my glasses, so it's kind of hard for me to read my script. And so he says, you're gonna grow up, and all of you guys are gonna go on different journeys in your life. You're gonna go on different paths. I didn't know what he meant by that, right? Because a different path to me without my friends. What? No friends? Without my friends, we're in this journey together. We said that we have these goals. Well, as time went on, my father's words were right, and I believe them and I see them. My friends, we did eventually grow apart. Some of them, a couple of my friends, they went off and they got married. They had successful, had wonderful homes, great lives. They were doing great. And then there were some of my friends that wasn't so successful. That they had some addiction to drugs, and then that drug had them down and bound for years. And I would see a couple of those friends be like, oh God, I wish I could help. And then it was those friends that you see and you're like, even though we grew apart, you know, some of your friends, as you grow apart, some of them will make choices in their life that would change their whole life just like that. Some of them, unfortunately, we've lost them way too young to die. Some of our friends died at such early ages, and we still never understand that, you know. And some people, you know, when they lose, a good friend or they lose that connection, some people they be quiet. They're scared to be friends with new people because I can't trust you. So just always remember there's all shades of friendships and there's levels to it. There's good friendship. There is amazing friendships out there. There are people that will be there for you in your hard days, your best days, and follow you through the shallow days, and you do the same. But you have to be careful because again, people do grow up and people change. or there's that one friend, like the friend that you can always call, and if you're feeling down, that friend you could call her or him, and they'll have you cracking up, and you call crying down, you laughing, you feeling lighter because that friend had that spark and brought that back, and you wasn't so upset about the situation you came into because she showed you or he showed you that there was light, like there's still something to laugh about through all this gray. Or the goofy friend, the friend that you guys hang out and they're so goofy. They do everything to make everyone laugh. And at the same time, they're a wonderful person. They're still there for you along with their goofiness. And then you have, the friend that is not afraid to tell you how they feel, right? You have someone who's, I'm not afraid to tell you how I feel. And let's say you got that friend, you come in and you got a questionable outfit on. She'll be or he'll be the friend say, no, don't wear that. Go try that again. That looks crazy because those are the type of friends that we need in our lives. You want to have people that actually value you because friends, they're like a needle in a haystack to find a very good friend. If you're blessed to be that friend that you don't betray your friend, you actually care and y'all grew up. I think the most wonderful friendship is when you can find someone or be friends with someone from when you're very small and then you grow up together as friends. Now, sometimes you grow up together and you guys realize we were never meant to be friends. We were only meant to play dolls together. Now that we are adults, we like the same things. You like what I like. It's not gonna work, right? Because now, is it hard to be friends if your friend likes the same thing you like? Hell yeah, I would think. I would imagine. Then it was the question of, can men and women actually be friends without I'm back in. I'm sorry, that was a little interruption. The question was, can men and women be friends without having a sexual relationship? I say you can. I say that you can be friends with someone that you've been friends with all your life, and you guys are, the opposite sex. Gender shouldn't matter. What does matter if that both of you friends know that that's exactly what you are, because you don't want one friend being like, you're thinking I'm in the friend lane and the friend zone because that's the way I want to keep it. Meanwhile, they're thinking other things like they're waiting on to open up a love novel about you. That's not a friendship. That's an application waiting to be approved. So I do believe a man and a woman can be friends without being sexually connected. And sometimes, people I've heard people say they married their best friend. That's possible too. That is a beautiful thing. You marry your best friend, you got it going on. That's beautiful because you married again your best friend. I've heard people say that. You know, but in life as we grow older, like I said, things change and we change sometimes. Sometimes as we grow older, your job change. People change. You get married, and that changes people. Failure changes people. Growth changes people. Losing people changes people. Success changes people. Pain changes people. When you was 15, you did certain things, but now that you're 25, you're not going to do what you did when you was 25 versus, are you going to do it when you're 50? Probably not, because you got 25 more years of knowledge under your belt. And no, 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 I don't want to do that again. You don't want to. So if you ever wondered why some friendships fade away, or some of them are difficult to contact, or sometimes, you know, it's just life, but don't never take it personal. Don't take it personal. Don't let your pride not call your friend. Sometimes our pride does that. Um, Sometimes you could be friends with someone and you guys get into it, and the other person says, I know this is my fault, but the inside me, my pride me, doesn't want to apologize for those. But eventually, you'll have to succumb to that apology because everybody needs to be forgiven, right? Um, so I will say that I've met a lot of fake friends. I've met seasonal friends, and some people might say, "Well, what's a seasonal friend?" A seasonal friend is someone that really was not meant to be in your life forever. They was only meant to maybe be a summer friend, and that you guys were not meant to be friends any more than that. But like I said, there are some amazing people out there that can make amazing friends. And then there's some people that don't know how to be friends. And I pray that you can learn how to be a friend because, hey, it makes the world a better place when we're all friends, right? So there were also some questions I had. One of the questions is, doo 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 doo. Who is the first person you call when something good happens to you? Well, for me, I praise first. Hey, after that, the person that I call, I'm going to call somebody who's always been celebrating me during my struggle. So I'm going to call them because they were celebrating me. You know what I'm saying? Because a person can celebrate you, can celebrate all your wins. They can celebrate it with you like it's their own wins. You know, those other people are priceless. The ones that like, hey, I am proud of you. I've seen you start from here to over there. So I'm proud of you. You did it. You know, and what makes do you know what makes you a good friend? Well, I can tell you I don't think I'm a bad friend. I've never had anyone tell me, you know, hey, you're a bad friend. You know, but how would you know if you're a bad friend? Unless someone tells you you are a bad friend. So today, you guys, I really, really enjoyed this short time. Um, it's been an interesting show for me because I completely forgot my seeing glasses. My vision is a little bit off a little, but I can see if I pull the screen up closer. But I thank you guys. And if you have any questions or any comments, you guys could feel free to ask me at any time. It is open mic time. You guys could ask me whatever you feel like it. Nothing, weird or anything or disrespect, because we don't do disrespect on this platform. We show nothing but love. And you guys don't forget to subscribe. It's free. So you can subscribe to your girl. I will be having my merch coming out here in the next few weeks. Hello, somebody, for the Here and Now show. So I figure if you guys support me here, why not support me with the t-shirts and the hoodies or your coffee cup or an ink pen? I would love that. I would love that support. On top of those things, my fourth book signing event, as I said, is coming up the last Tuesday of July. It will be on Zoom. And if any of you guys in the chat are interested in coming to the Zoom book event, send me your email, please. My email address is under my information. Just send me your email address and say, hey, I want to be a part of your book club Zooning, book signing event, and I'll get you tapped in. It would mean the world to me. But also, you have to order the book. If you're wondering where can you find Missing My Daughter Ava, book one and book two, you can find it on Amazon under Lavonda Marshall. That's me. Type that in. You can go to book one, two, and three. And then by the time the book events is hosted, you guys already have it, read. Is there any questions anybody would like to ask? I do appreciate all my listeners, all my subscribers, all of you that have bared with me with my blindness. Um, yep. So thank you. I love the pink hands, by the way. Let me see. I have about 4 minutes in here for questions, and you guys know when I do the questions, it's your guys' time. Play a little jazz because I love jazz music, and we can question it out. You guys, if you don't want to say anything, that's perfectly fine. You don't always have to speak. Sometimes the best is answer in your heart, right? Um, I could tell you guys a little more about myself while I'm sitting here for this short moment before we cast away. Anybody have any plans for dinner? Anybody got any ideas? I have none. So if you got any ideas, your girl would like to know. Um, and again, my brand will be coming out. I'm glad to be here. I'm glad that I have the viewers that I do have. And we have, I have I will be casting off here in about 1 minute, and then I'll restream for questions and answers for the Here and Now show. So if you guys are okay with that, I'll see you guys in about less than 60 seconds. What about that? Less than 10 seconds, right? So I want to make sure I got everything together. Get your questions ready. I shall return.